Hello and welcome to The Healing Way. My name is Richard Clark, and on this video, the first video that I'm posting on The Healing Way to do with all the different aspects of my healing work, I'd like to talk about the early days and in particular how it was the method started to develop and evolve. If you're wanting the healing methods just on their own, then that's on Healing with Energy. It's a separate channel so that people can go directly to what they want, the demonstration videos, without having to go through and work through loads of other videos that are more to do with explanations and going into all the different aspects of the healing methods. So if you just want the healing videos, please go to Healing with Energy. Going back to this video, how did it all start and how did I end up where I am and what was the first few steps? Well, it started from a perception, a simple perception. It's got very deep and very complicated now, 20 years later, but at the time it was very simple steps, very simple perceptions. And the first perception was simply that most people were congested with what appeared to me, to my view, my perception. It appeared that they were congested with harmful energy, or energy that was blocking the way their body worked. And I'm not just talking about very ill people, very sick people, because it was almost like a sliding scale, that the iller, the sicker that a person was, the more there was this congestion present in them. And at that point I just couldn't figure it out. I didn't know if it was harmful or it didn't look natural. It certainly didn't look natural, but it looked like it was artificial. It looked like... The question was, what would happen if it wasn't there? Is this connected with their illness? I mean, everybody seems to have this to a greater or lesser degree. Some people, most people who are not ill are well congested, and that is quite interesting. Although if you're watching this, don't start getting worried that you didn't think you was ill, but now you think you might be. This is, as I say, this is an energy, a very polluting, toxic type energy that doesn't look right. It doesn't look right in people at all. So, having perceived that energy and having seen that quite often people, the more they were ill, the more they had of this inside of them, the next step was, or the next question was, what would happen if you could find a method, develop a method, simply to extract this energy? Could you get the energy out? Would it make an impact? Would it have an impact on the illness? And if it didn't, would it be then possible to see the illness in a clearer way? Because this polluted energy blocks everything. You cannot see, to those of us who are perceptive and tend to look with perception, so you can actually look inside a person and see what's in them. It blocks that perception. It won't go any further. So, that was the question. Could this energy be extracted, and if it could, what effect would it have? It didn't appear to be anything that was natural to a human. It didn't seem natural at all. Now, I already knew from previous healing experiences that the joints of the body, particularly the wrists and the ankles, were places the body used as kind of valves. It was the way the body drew in energy from the outside, which I've blogged about if you want to read up more on this, and it expelled energy that it no longer needed. Now that's the part that's always puzzled me, because if this energy is in a person and it's harmful, why doesn't the body simply get rid of it, flush it out? Well, the reason is it'd like to, but it can't. We'll come to that later. So I already knew that the wrists and ankles, the joints in particular, were used by the body to draw in and push out energy or dispel energy, to get energy it didn't want in the body outside. And this energy, these mechanisms in the body are very much, how can I put it, on the surface. We have dozens of energy systems in us. It's amazing. Every time I look at something, I see a different energy system. The one I'm working on at the moment is the energy system that links the brain and the bone marrow. And this is pretty much at the heart of step 3, the energy method that I'm studying right now. So this is a different energy system, a different part of the body or the energy system that's congested. So this energy is, to my perception, nearer the surface. Other energy systems go deeper. Right, so I could see that it could be drawn out perhaps from the wrist and ankles, and this is what I started doing. I started hunting round for a material that would do this, something that would draw out this energy, because the energy, I divide energy into different categories depending on its, perhaps category is too strong a word, but depending on its texture. Perceiving energy can, this type of energy, look very much what I think of as of the world. It came from the world, it came from the physical world outside and got in. It's the same kind of energy as comes out of car exhaust or pollutants or anything we dump into the air. The energy content of that can get into our bodies. Again, I've blogged on this. So we've got a physical energy that can be drawn out, can be accessed from the outside by the right materials. So the hunt was on to find the right materials. And after a lot of researching and studying and trying out different things, I came upon the Liquitabs, which is the method I've been using for years and years and years. I slap them on. If somebody wants a healing, I put them on first step without giving it a second thought. Now that is always the first step. And the Liquitabs, I think when they, in the writing on the box, they call them dirt magnets. And this is a very good description. They draw out the physical dirty energy that's in people. So that became the method, using the Liquitabs. I mean, I tried everything. I tried washing powder, I tried soda crystals, anything with sodium in it. Sodium was the key word at the time, and any product, I used to go down garden centres and everywhere looking for something with sodium in to try it in a different way. And as I say, I finally settled on these Liquitabs, which we call them in the UK, and the biological ones are much better than the non-bio ones for this purpose. I don't know if the manufacturers have got any idea what their product does, but anyway, I use it a lot, and I've no financial interest in it. I haven't gone out and bought shares in companies or anything like that. I don't work for anyone. So it was interesting. These Liquitabs, I put them on the wrists and ankles, and they drew out a lot of this, what I see as harmful toxic energy. And you'd leave them on for a couple of hours, and they, as I say, they would draw out a lot of the problems. Now they would only draw out about 40% of the problems, and also the method has evolved on now. So if you look at the latest postings about this method on healing with energy, you'll find that the methods of it's basically the same method, it's just that I've added bits to it to make it even better, improved it. But now this method would draw out about, in my estimation, about 40% of this harmful toxic energy content in a person. 40%. It seemed that something was anchoring it in the body, and it was. It was the the action of toxic bacteria in the bone marrow of the forearms appears to be actually anchoring this energy. Whether it kind of wraps it round itself as a protective layer, I don't know. But the method would draw out, as I say, about 40%. Now I stayed with this method for years. I mean, I used it for years and years, and I was quite happy with that because I would get a huge improvement on somebody's health just with 40%. And it should be said that this doesn't cure anyone of anything. It drops, it's like this energy is an aggravating energy that aggravates and irritates the body. So you get things like allergies, which are in reaction to this energy. You get, where it concentrates, you get things like migraine. If it concentrates in the neck, it flushes up into the head and causes, or is a factor of migraine. When it congests in the upper back, it comes through into the lungs, and then you get asthma. It's a factor in asthma. Rheumatoid arthritis is another one. It gets into the immune system and causes distortion and aggravation in the immune system. And combined with other factors, this can lead to real serious health problems. And I've blogged about this and I've videoed about this, so it's all elsewhere if you're interested and want to have a look. But the main thing is, the point I'd like to make is, it's not a cure. It reduces the symptoms, it lowers the level of aggravation, which to people, if the problem's gone away, they think, great, I'm cured, but it isn't. It drops the level of the symptoms, and what the beauty of it is, it can drop them below the threshold of awareness, so people are free of the pain and suffering. It hasn't changed anything underneath. The underlying conditions are still there. But that is the situation with it. That's how I started. And the next step, after a while, becoming unhappy, it was okay, this method, up to a point, but it became more and more apparent that there were things blocking it. There were underlying conditions that needed remedying and looking at, and as a result I moved on to other methods, and that evolved and got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now I'm putting the whole thing on YouTube for people to see for themselves, try for themselves, and of course future generations. Hopefully this will become a way of healing in its own right, not to take anything away from anyone else who's doing anything else. Right, so that's how it got started. It was small steps, keeping my eyes open and watching to see what happened. Everything I do is always backed up by evidence and proof. I don't just slap bags of washing powder on people and go, hooray, they're cured. You know, that's not the way it works. You put stuff on, you watch them, you see what the conditions are doing. If they're seriously ill, with chronic long-term conditions, which is what my methods are mainly aimed against, although I want to expand this out more so that it can help people with other conditions. People who are seriously ill or are suffering like this are nearly always under the doctor's care or going to hospitals, having tests and all this, and you can simply go by what these tests are showing. You can just ask them, how did you get on? What did they say? And they'll say, yeah, there's an improvement, tested. So there's always the testing. This is what I like about this whole process, that you can actually test what you're doing. It's not just something I imagine and I hope it works, or I think it works, or I talk myself into it working. It has to deliver results. You have to, at the end of the day, it's either results or it's all talk. So you need to be very clear on that. Okay, so that's how I got into this, how I got started. I mean, obviously you need an interest in this kind of work, or you just don't do anything. But this environmental stuff, it really will, if it's proven that so many chronic conditions are caused, or the environment is a factor in all this. If that link is proven, what do we do then? You know, we're chucking things into the air, all kind of high energy byproducts are thrown out into the air, into the environment, and our bodies are absorbing these. Now it seems to me that we will come to a crunch where people will say, I'm suffering but I don't care, just carry on, or people will say, oh no, it's got to stop. It'll be very interesting to see if it comes to a head, if it's brought to a head in my lifetime, where people will go on this. Where people will go on this. That is going to be the question. Because this is the one thing we can control. We can do something about this. Later factors like damage that viruses do to us, damage that's done deep down to the energy systems of our bodies. A lot of that we can't do a lot about. We can repair it, but it's difficult to prevent. But this first step is totally preventable. We throw the toxic material out into the ground where the bacteria and all the illnesses breed. We dispose of our waste products into the air, and because we say it's out of sight, it's out of mind, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. It's affecting our health very, very seriously. Which isn't to lecture people about this, it's just pointing it out. As I say, it'd be very interesting to see how this all pans out. Okay, so this is my first one on here. I'm going to stop at that. I feel like I want to do another video on fields, which are becoming very interesting. These are like the fields of electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear effect, gravity. This is the underlying theme of all the work, using batteries and stuff like that. And I'm putting together all the methods so that they all converge at some point. Hopefully I'll get one method that does everything. I'm not there yet. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Great, thanks for watching. I hope you get something from it. I hope you give the healing methods a try if you need to, and if they work for you, try them on other people. There's always somebody who needs help. Okay, thank you very much for listening. I'll see you on the next one.